Welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast, episode 81. I'm Ian Scott.
Ho, ho, ho. It's Christmas time. To those people who don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah. I don't
happy
know.
Holidays from last week this week.
Yes, and I'm Zach Huber. I'm spreading the Christmas, the holiday cheer because I've invested in festive garb. And this is the only time, because I think this episode will come out probably before the holidays. So I don't want to do it
after.
Out
before Christmas. So
and then what is this podcast? What are
this
we doing?
podcast is the podcast where we talk about film and TV topics from the last week and give them to you all this week. And I think first half of our podcast is going to be DC stuff, and we got a lot of that, and then we got a bunch of other cool topics as well.
It'll all have time codes at the bottom, so if you want to jump around, you can feel free. But yeah, like Ian said, we got the Clayface movie. We got a Creature Commandos episode 4, which is so sad. Review. So good. We also got some news about the conflict between Amazon and the Broccoli family who owns the rights to James Bond. We're going to go through the What If Season 3 episodes and descriptions that got released from Marvel. And then lastly, we'll have our Skeleton Crew review. But we've been waiting. I've been waiting for 2 years for this moment.
We've been waiting.
I'm getting now it's even, now it's the movie, but I've been waiting for the first look at the Superman that we're getting from James Gunn. And we finally got it. And I snuck off to the bathroom to watch it at 9 o'clock in the morning because I just couldn't wait.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What can I say that hasn't been said other than, I guess there's differing opinions on the internet about it, but my opinion, I loved it. I think it's fantastic. I keep watching it over and over. I love so many things about it, which we'll get into. And I have some theories, and I know a lot of people have been putting out their theories about it. But yeah, I freaking loved it. I'm so excited. I saw somebody mentioned in a video I was watching on YouTube, like commented, why did all these movie trailers think that if you just slow down a song and you take the drums out, that it'll make it more epic? And I was like,
because it is always epic.
Because it just is.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I mean, like the gradualness of like it starting off with like him being beat and like you're just hearing his breathing, like the rough breathing of somebody trying to stay alive, right? And then then the guitar comes in and it's the John Williams theme, very slowly done, and then like as soon as like he saves the child, it looks like it swells and it's like an orchestra.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so masterfully done, that music.
Yeah.
So
and I wanted to say regarding this trailer, with the way that it starts, because I was asking my girlfriend about it because I wanted like a more outside opinion about how she felt about it, but she loved it.
Good,
but I think it's eye-popping to see somebody like him being so beaten as the first thing that we saw. And maybe,
oh my gosh, yeah.
I do think that when you're commissioned to make a trailer, your job is to tell a narrative and a story. And I've seen James Gunn say, like, we're bringing you home, and that's obviously the theme that we're taking from this when he calls crypto, which is a awe-inspiring, like that is
good.
That moment brought so much joy to me that I was like, I didn't, because when they mentioned that they were going to do crypto, I was really hesitant. And I know that he's really good. James Gunn's really good at making animal characters. And he's really good with just characters in general. But I was really nervous that it was going to be very cheesy. And I had faith, and it looks so far great. And I love, like, I just love the movements that we're getting. And I guess most of it's based off of his dog and video live phone footage that he took of his dog.
Right.
So that's kind of cool.
I can't believe how real the dog looks. Do you think that's a real dog?
No, that's a CGI
that's
dog.
the thing. I mean, like, that is the best CGI of any animal of any James Gunn movie I've seen. Like, that, it looked like a real dog to me. It was incredible.
It's really good.
It's so good.
I don't know if I would say it's better than Rocket or Eagly.
I think it is.
It could be.
I think Eagly's better than Rocket, to be honest.
I think Eagly's the most realistic, but for like a number of reasons.
Sure.
I think Crypto doesn't need to be super realistic in some ways, but it does in others. But anyways, I thought it was handled very well. I like the characterization so far that I've seen.
Yeah. Do you see the little pendant he had of like the Superman logo?
It's just so cute.
So cute.
But I was getting off track. I wanted to say something in particular regarding the first scene. I feel like they try to craft a narrative, and like James Gunn was saying, like we're coming home, come home, and I can't help but feel like maybe the idea of picking up in the movie where our Superman is beaten and bruised and everything, if that couldn't maybe be a metaphor for how the DC universe has been handled, and
I
how
would say,
Superman's,
though,
in some opinions, has been handled, and then we're like, come here, we're gonna take care of you.
Look, if that's the case, it's very metaphorical, and I love that. But I don't expect us to start off like right at that scene in the movie.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this as a trailer, and like
that's what you mean.
Maybe what they're trying, the narrative they're crafting is like, right, this is how DC fans view the state of DC right now, or just Superman or whatever, and we're taking you. We're gonna heal you. We're gonna heal you. Which I don't know if that's. But and also the other thing that was great about this trailer, when I was watching John Campea and his crew talk about it, was so he lands. He's all beaten and bruised up. The first thing he starts thinking about is like him at the Daily Planet, Lois, his dad. Which, by the way, we get like a dad who's
alive. I mean, do you think that's a flashback scene? Do you think that's present day?
I think it's present day.
Okay.
But I think what I wanted to say is, like, I think Jonathan Kent has typically been like handsome farmer guy, you know, like could be on like Men's Health or GQ or something. And then this,
I wouldn't even necessarily say that though. About Richard Donner though, is what I'm saying. Like those movies, like. I don't know if I'd say Pa Kent was like. I mean, I think he was a pretty old guy. I don't think he was this like handsome, rugged guy like Kevin Costner.
Well, but he still had kind of good. Not to say that this Pa Kent's not gonna have good looks, but like he still looked like a good dude. I mean, even if he was old. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is this guy looks like a farmer. It's not even like a big farm. It's like, it just looks like a little rancher house.
It is a little ranch house, yeah.
And I kind of like that.
I will say, I don't think anything will ever beat that original farmhouse from like the 70s movies. Like that, it's so iconic, and that's just exactly what I picture Superman Clark Kent's home every time. But yeah, no, this will do fine. This will be fine.
And then once he starts to get dragged home, he's like dealing with the like life as Superman, what conflicts, villains, all that stuff, and I kind of kaiju, and I kind of liked that there was like that kind of like narrative of like the people I care about, the things I have to do. Yeah, at least that's how I like started to view it for so far.
I could see that. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, was I a little off put for a second by like the giant kaiju? A little, but then I was like, but I've never seen Superman in live action fight a giant monster, and that sounds pretty fucking cool.
It sounds amazing.
Nicholas, well, I should say before Nicholas Hoult, Rachel Brosnahan, I saw some people online saying, "Oh, she doesn't look hot enough. She needs a pencil skirt." And I'm like, I was like,
she looks great.
She looks great. I am so excited for her. Even just the few seconds of them of
there was quite a few scenes.
David Cornsweet that they were interacting with each other. I was like, I feel some good chemistry here.
Well, I mean, I mean, like as surface level as it can get, because we're not seeing dialogue. But yes, it looks like they have good chemistry.
But the way that they look at each other, like I don't know, I just. but I think I'm so excited to see her Lois Lane. I think Nicholas Hoult has the potential to be the best Lex that we've ever seen on screen.
Look, I loved his look. I love how Luthor Corp Tower looks. I think that's a great design.
I'm just a little sad that I'm not getting Lex Corp, but that's one little nitpick.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, like
the Luthor Corp, the way that it
is an X. Yeah, in a sense.
Well, but I was gonna say like the way that it's bridging these two like towers together, which is crazy. But I wonder if that's. I have a theory about this movie, and I'm wondering if it couldn't be partially like maybe LexCorp started to go into like DNA research, and like it's kind of all based on improving one's.
Well, I mean that's very Lex, yeah.
And so like maybe the building is literally like designed to be like almost that DNA strand sort of design. I don't know.
I could see it. But yeah, we also got to see a lot of like Daily Planet. Like I thought the inside and outside, and like even in like the teaser before the trailer, they showed like the big globe on top of the building. Like everything Daily Planet style wise looks great. And I mean, and it's there like at the start of the trailer, really, where like to me, I know there's weirdly some complaints about like the color grading in this movie. Again, feel like some people just feel like they're experts on color grading. I thought the colors like popped in this trailer, like especially in the Daily Planet and like as it went on. I thought stylistically.
I mean,
like,
if you want to compare it to what we have gotten, it is
yes. It's eye-popping,
like blinding. Right. I'm like, oh my god, I've never seen colors before.
Right. No, but like, and then you had like, I didn't even mention that like him walking up to Daily Planet. I loved like the subtleness there too, where like he's towering above like everyone on the street. Like just like the subtle like things they're playing here, I think is great. And I love. I think stylistically it was so smart to do this trailer non-dialogue. Just let us focus on the music and like the beautiful visuals and like what could come in the story, and don't give too much away. And it just works so well.
Yeah, I agree. I mentioned it to you off podcast that I have faith because I like the way that it was done in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I like the way that it was done in the Suicide Squad. But when I first watched the trailers, I was still hesitant. So I have faith that it's going to work out. But there is something about that increased frame per second shots where it starts to become less cinematic instead of the 24 frames per second, and it's more. It's still like it's like an in between like real world shot on iPhone kind of feel, and then the more cinematic 24 frames per second, and sometimes I'm like, oh no, I love it. And then the other times I'm like, I don't know. Like it starts to feel a little weird, but like I have faith that he knows what he's doing with it. That's just one thing that I noticed. A lot of that was also occurring like out on the street and in the teaser, like the little 30-second teaser on Instagram, and him at the Daily Planet.
To me, it's not noticeable in the trailer. It is in the teaser, but I didn't notice it a second in the trailer.
Every single time he's like going into the Daily Planet, I'm like, that's such a weird disconnect. Or like whenever they're on the street, or like the kids putting up the flag.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know.
Right.
Just another thing.
Sure.
By the way, I was not comparing this to the Man of Steel trailer at all, because I don't think it's a competition, and if anything, I was comparing it more to like the past work that James has done.
Sure.
But if somebody was to bring it up, I did think about it after, and I was like, I think this movie is going to be a lot more fun, and I don't, and who knows, maybe I'll like it more than Man of Steel. And I'm not a Zack Snyder like fanboy, or like the Snyderverse is superior, and I've never even seen James Gunn. But in terms of the past two Superman movies so far, that Man of Steel trailer still fucking eats for me. Like that, the Man of Steel trailer was so fucking good still. Like
I'd have to go back and watch it.
Came out, and I was like, wow, that's incredible. But I think this is just such a vastly different movie that like anybody who's like, oh my God, that suit is terrible, or like, because like Henry Cavill's suit is, I mean, it's great, and I really like this suit.
I think in looking at all the suits recently, it probably is my least favorite.
Henry Cavill's?
And it's only because of how dark they made this suit. Like genuinely, it's so fucking dark at points, and it's just not
such
Superman.
A good suit. It's a good suit, man.
I think the design is good. Like when you see stills on set and it's like the full color, you're like, oh, that looks good. But then like in the movies, you're like, this is like navy blue you're wearing. Like what's going on?
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it, and that's why people had complaints. But
sure,
it's a great suit. Great suit.
Yeah, but speaking of suits and characters, we get to see our first look of Mr. Terrific in this trailer, and of Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, and of Hawkgirl, and
Metamorpho.
Metamorpho. Although you just see his face, like the other three, you get to kind of see in action. Like Mr. Terrific's like deflecting bullets, and Guy Gardner shoots at his ring, and Hawkgirl's flying through the sky with her battle mace, and it all looks great, and yeah, I can't wait to see those characters and how like they tie into like Maxwell Lord.
Right. So good thing that you brought that up, because this does kind of tie into one of the theories that I have now about this movie. So all of those characters all kind of have,
except Metamorpho.
Well, that we know of so far.
That we know of so far. Yeah.
All have these somewhat similar suits, right?
Yeah, with the same logo on it. And that's the Maxwell Lord, like Lord Tech. Lord Tech. And then we also have like Ultraman and like the Engineer, and from the stills that we've seen, like we got to see a scene of him like fighting Ultraman, which was dope too.
That is if it is
Ultraman.
Ultraman.
Right. Yeah.
Remains to be seen. Could it be like a cloned Superman?
Could be.
More than likely it could be.
Yeah.
But like some people are saying, it's Bizarro. It could be. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go there. They might. But I have a theory, because we also have like the Stag Industries, which is like the
That's where you saw him like getting upset, and like there was an angry crowd outside that building.
And he's like, I guess Simon Stagg is the antagonist to Metamorpho. And I have a theory that the reason that like somebody like Guy Gardner has that goofy ass haircut is like he's this world that is pre-existing with superheroes has like, maybe Lex has his own like team of like superheroes, and then Maxwell Lord has his like team of superheroes, but maybe they're run by like corporations, and like it's so like corporate. They all have their different interests in line, and maybe that even like the members of the team, like the Guy Gardner and the Mr. Terrific and stuff, all kind of at one point are like, we're or like, that's against the company's interests or whatever. Like,
yeah,
and,
I think that is the case, but I don't know if Lex Luthor is involved in that. I would be very skeptical about that one.
I think Lex Luthor is definitely pulling strings to.
But I don't know if he has his own team, like Maxwell Lord does.
He maybe not team.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I have a feeling though that there might be multiple superhero teams, like the Authority could be set up by Lex.
Sure.
Well, I mean, the Engineer is a part of the Authority, and she's in it.
And she's but she's not seen with Lex, right?
She is in the still that just got released today.
Okay, like she's with Lex and
he's got like sunglasses. Okay. They're like walking because I know out of the stadium where he's fighting Ultraman, and Ultraman's behind him, and she's behind him as well. Yeah,
I know in like the leak we saw her with like Ultraman and Rick Flag Sr.
Right.
So yeah, it's a couple of interesting places to show up. So maybe like Lex is also kind of tied in with the government as well, and Rick Flag.
But I do think that like corporations and the way that
it's going to be a big theme
that they handle their superheroes, which could be a little bit of meta commentary, and I hope this is the case, meta commentary about how some people who own comic book IP tend to treat their superheroes.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Sure. No, it feels very much like it. Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be shade towards Marvel, because
no.
But like or just commentary about like brands, like because like the Lord Tech thing seems so cheesy and so like brand like that I'm like, yeah, this is like not what we need out of superheroes,
Correct. Yeah, obviously I think this movie and Superman will show like the universe what it means to be a hero and like have kind of maybe a slight course correction for the people who are in like with Maxwell Lord. It's not really a theory per se. I mean, maybe it is, but like I also think that scene where we see Guy Gardner kind of like walk in and like go towards Superman. I think those three, like the people who are with Maxwell Lord, I think they're gonna be the ones who like bring Superman in, and then like the Engineer and I don't know, maybe Ultraman like also like kind of have a hand in that. And because there's a very slight I guess appearance of Metamorpho next to like Superman's prison that he's in when he like breaks the glass. So you're like if Stag Industries is Metamorpho's like villain, then he'd probably be captured by Stag. I don't know. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. It's not like a crazy theory, but like connecting the pieces of the trailer. But it seems like the public turns on him at some point, and the government turns on him at some point, and he's angry, and that'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
What else about this trailer?
Well, so like you mentioned, there's the dragon beast that he fights at some point that looks incredible. You have at some point Superman grieving over a robot, which I thought was very interesting.
Which people think is Kelex, which is like a Kryptonian robot, kind of like guard.
Okay.
And and Kelex was actually in the Man of Steel movie as well. He was that floating.
It was the floating. Okay.
Yeah.
Much different design of Kelex. Yeah.
Yeah. Which this movie, from all the stuff that I've been reading and listening to that James has been talking about, is like definitely pulling in a lot more sci-fi Silver Age Superman. I mean, if you've read All-Star Superman, there's a lot of more gadgets and like sci-fi stuff that any other iteration has ever had.
Right.
I mean, to the point where, they show how like smart he is in that comic, where he, for Lois's birthday, is like, I made this formula where it gives you my powers for a whole day.
Insane.
And so she gets to be Superman for a whole day, and like that's just a thing he can do. And taps into his intelligence, which is not exactly something that's been done before, and that would be kind of cool to see. So especially when you have somebody like Crypto the Super Dog and
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then you also get like those themes as well, like where you have like the kid and like him like almost begging or praying for Superman to come and save him, and he's like holding up that flag of Superman's logo. Like it just feels so like Superman comic, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Right.
and I do think that like to me that scene is like that child who loves Superman or loves comics or loves superheroes, like that's something that any kid would be like, if I'm in this war torn area, like
Right.
and if somebody was actually real, I'd be like, that's the person I want to save me. But also like who just like wants to be saved by that character, loves that character.
Yeah.
And I'm so nervous. And I know this is like not going to, hope this is not the case, but I'm so nervous that like getting closer to the movie, I'm just going to hear I'm going to see a bunch of Twitter discourse. It's like, we don't need a white savior in the like another foreign nation. Like this is such bullshit. I'm like, I hope that's not the case because I don't, first of all, Superman's an alien.
Right. It's not like
yes, he's white, but like he's an alien.
But and so many times in that narrative, it is the US coming over and being like, yeah, we're the best. We're gonna save your broken country.
I know, but it's even more like the white savior. Like we have a white savior. He's gonna
no, but I'm saying to your point, like it is mainly with like, you know, because he's an alien, it doesn't really apply. Like it's mainly with like us as a US government military, like coming in and being like, yeah, we got this shit, you know?
All I'm saying is I saw that scene and I was like, I feel the hope. And then I went, I'm going to I feel like I'm just going to hear a bunch of shit on Twitter about how like, this is like,
and then everyone will shit on them. So I don't think we'll have anything to worry about, to be honest.
I don't know.
No.
But, I
don't know. The only other thing I can remember from the trailer, that I don't think we covered was that we kind of see the creation of like the Fortress of Solitude. It seems like where like the ice just shoots up and I've seen that like a similar image. Like they released the like new merch today for.
Oh my God, I was gonna bring that
Superman.
Up. It looks god awful.
Does it? Do you think it looks awful? Because I think there's
are you fucking kidding me?
There's a hoodie that looks really the black one with
looks
like
terrible.
No, hold on. Well, I can't kind of pull it up on here.
With the poster image on the back.
No, it doesn't have it has like a small Superman logo at the top of the neck, and then on the front it's Superman logo, but like you have the ice shooting up. So yes, most of them look good, but there was one I really liked, and that's the one. Yeah.
You mean most of them did not look good?
Did not look good. Yes, agreed.
Because
I'm not a fan of like just the poster and a block. You know, it's not.
And also like you guys are DC. Why are you using those like place your image in this generic home image? You know, like stuff like. And I was like, this looks terrible. We are in a place. I know this is not trailer related. But we're in a place with merch where people are taking realistic. Like with models putting the merch on so people can see what it looks like, not on a, they need to know what it looks like on the body.
Yeah.
Get your shit together, DC. We should be better than this.
Yeah. They didn't have a great design plan for that, unfortunately. But they nailed a couple designs.
I'm going to have to see those because almost everything I saw from the merch drop today, I was like, this is terrible. This is the worst.
Remind me after the podcast to show you. Okay. And if you guys look it up, let us know what you like.
4 things. I read the Collider article, but 4 things that this movie is going to have. Maybe this is minor spoilers, but I don't consider them to be. Apparently starts in the middle of the action. Don't know if that means an actual action sequence or if that means we're already in the middle of this I think world that exists, which is
right.
I think,
and we get that sense of that like this world is super full of life and other characters and conflicts, and I took it as more of like we're in the middle of this already existing world and already in the middle of kind of Superman's like existence. Maybe we do start in the middle of like a fight, but I guess I took it less literally.
I just don't know what that means.
Yeah. I guess we won't know until the movie comes out.
Lois and Clark know each other.
Yep.
I feel like that means in both senses of like
I actually, well, I guess the interview I read with James Gunn was like, he was like, well, maybe. Basically, he wasn't like fully confirming that she knew who Superman was. But I think if she does find out in this movie, it's very early on, you know?
yeah. I yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, Lex already hates Superman, but they haven't met yet, which
Interesting.
You can already tell how much Nicholas Holt's Lex hates him just by that one when he's in his Luthor core tower and Superman just flies by real quick and he just immediately turns and his face is just pissed off.
Yeah.
Just like, okay.
I want to be you.
I love it. And then Mr. Terrific apparently has a pretty big role in the movie, which like one of those characters needs to, be the lead. And it's obviously not going to be Guy Gardner. I mean, that's maybe Guy gets like a haircut change at the end of it. Like maybe like part of the joke will be like,
that's who Guy is.
You guys, well, it's partially who Guy is.
He doesn't always have that hairstyle. Sure.
But like, or maybe they'll keep it and it's like the joke will be, like, aren't you guys kind of like stuck in like the 80s with your outfits? Like, and maybe like Maxwell Lord's like, just like a cheesy dude. I don't know.
Surprised we didn't see him in the trailer, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be. I know he was cast, but I don't know if he was
right. He hasn't been confirmed. Yeah.
But we'll see. Mm-hmm. And then I have a sneaking suspicion that either Maxwell Lord is going to then try to create the Justice League like International after this. Like he'll kind of be the Nick Fury type of character, or
I don't think
he'll be more antagonistic. But I think Hawkgirl will hopefully be a part of like the main Justice League once we get into it down the road, but we'll see.
I could see there being more of like a Justice. I don't know. I can't remember what the name for it is, but like there's been a Justice League that's existed where like there's a crap ton of members.
International,
yeah. And I think it'll be more like that because I would be very surprised if Mr. Terrific wouldn't. Like if he has a large role and he survives the movie, then I think he would be in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of information we got from one trailer.
Also, there was like a Threads user that was like, "I love the trailer, but I still hate those trunks. Hopefully I'll like them by the end." And James was like, "I'm fairly certain you will like them by the end." So there's something about it, and I like that David, who's playing Superman, basically convinced James to put them in there, right? Because he was pretty anti trunks, and then he said,
"Well, he wasn't sure." James was kind of iffy either way. Is what I was.
It seemed like from what the conversation that I was reading was. He was pretty adamant. Like he was in between, but he was pretty more like much more on the side of like, I don't think that we should do them. And that's why they were having that like kind of clashing of like, no. The reason he needs to have them is because he wants kids to feel safe because he's this other being and he's so powerful, which can be scary. So I'm going to dress like a professional wressler. Right.
With the boots and the trunks.
I kind of like that.
No, yeah, for sure. It's a good backstory.
Yeah.
Agreed. So yeah, I couldn't be more excited. I think it's like the poster is both of our backgrounds, and we've each watched the trailer a countless amount of times. So it's a big deal for us over here.
I mean, Christmas came early. I mean, I really did. I don't even need Christmas anymore.
Yeah, this really boosted our moods, I think. So but I think that's Superman for now. Hopefully we get some more news soon, but if we don't, I'm very satisfied.
I think we'll get next trailer. I can almost guarantee it has to be the Super Bowl. And I think it's smart. I think it's smart that they some people were criticizing that like it's coming out too early, but I think this trailer is going to be played in movie theaters this Christmas season, and I sorry to break.
I think it'll be played for the next 6 months, to be honest.
Not 6 months, maybe 2 to 3, but we'll not see. 6. But this trailer will be played in movie theaters where during the Christmas season, where countless people who usually do not go to the movies will be going into the theater to do their like annual holiday, go to the movies sort of thing. It's one of the biggest weekends of the year. And this is their chance to get that on people's radar.
No doubt.
And I know a lot of people watch the Super Bowl, but not everybody watches the Super Bowl. And so it'll be another plus to get like the Superman trailer there.
Agreed.
But like you're missing out on a whole bunch of people who are like I don't watch football, but I like movies.
Well, and the international audience too. I mean,
and the international
nobody in the international audience watches Super Bowl. So
there you go.
Yeah. So no, very smart. I don't think it was too early. I mean, yeah. So
I couldn't wait any longer. I was gonna break down some doors. You know, if I didn't get it this year,
to DC Studios and break some doors down.
I thought we were gonna get it at Comic-Con Brazil, and I was wrong. But that's okay.
That's okay. We got it now, and it's beautiful. But we also not super recent news, but we missed it last time we recorded that there is now reportedly a Clayface movie that's been greenlit. Yeah. And it's being written by Mike Flanagan, and it's got a 2026 release date, I think September. And it's being described. 11th. It's being described as a horror tragedy, and like their version of The Fly. So,
which granted, I want to preface that Fly reference was put on the internet by Brandon Davis, who is a podcast host of Phase Hero, and he said that he talked with co-CEO Peter Safran, who told him after the Superman Q&A that it's currently looking for a director and will start filming early next year. Said it's not campy, it's DC's The Fly. So that's where that comes from.
Okay, so not official, but a known scooper, I guess, or what?
I mean, he looked like pretty official. He had a bunch of he had like 300,000 followers, and like.
I mean, it doesn't mean a ton to be a scooper, but yeah.
But I'll take it. Like I can buy that it's kind of going to be like The Fly. So
it's also been reported that this will have a $40 million budget, which is pretty low. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's early on. We'll see if that budget sticks to 40 million.
Right. But if it is like almost like a character study, and it's more of like focusing on the horror, this like horror tragedy of a character, I could see it being 40 million. I don't think it would have to have a crazy ton of special effects or anything that would necessarily blow up the budget,
Yeah. I mean, the thing about that's what we've said about horror for a while now is like horror
is cheap. Cheap to make.
It's a cheap horror of a genre. I mean, you don't even have to pay them that much to get your cheap thrill, and then you get a lot of profit.
Whores.
Cheap whores. That's all these horror audiences are. They're whores. They're whores. But like that's what we've been saying. Like you can do all these horror movies as long as they're a good story, good premise, well done. You can keep the budget low. You can get a lot of return on income. Maybe that's part of the thinking. I don't know.
Sure.
But what is so exciting to me about this movie is Mike Flanagan, who has just been absolutely killing it for the most part. Absolutely been killing it.
I don't think I've seen his work, but I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you're not a horror guy, but so the stuff that I have particularly seen is The Haunting of Hill House, which is phenomenal. One of the best TV series, even if you don't like horror, one of the best TV series that you can watch on Netflix. I did not watch Haunting of Bly Manor, though I heard good things. Midnight Mass, people love. I did not like The Midnight Club or whatever that was. but I do love The Fall of the House of Usher.
Okay.
That was like a TV show that was multiple different stories baked into one story, like multiple different Edgar Allan Poe stories baked into one story. Fantastic. Right. He's done a lot of great horror. I love the stuff that I've seen from him. And the idea of him being the writer of this movie, which, by the way, I guess this is in the DCU.
It is. Yep.
Which is surprising because I would have thought this would have been like a cool Elseworld story. But I find
I feel like we already know they're establishing Clayface. And like I feel
with
like
the Creature Commandos stuff.
Right.
Allegedly.
Well, we've seen it in trailers, you know, like
that if that is Clayface, which like it looks
it's gotta
like
be.
It looks like it is, but like alleged.
Yeah, allegedly. Right. But like and if Sergeant Rock comes true, like if that ends up being like greenlit, which it looks like it will, like it seems like, you know, when we see a character, and maybe not like I'm not saying like every time we're going to see a character, they're going to have a movie, but like if they're establishing a character and then they announce the movie, I would assume that like that's going to follow through. And yeah, I feel like James has a lot of passion for a lot of the characters in Creature Commandos. And I think this makes complete sense to do a Clayface, even though it's not like one of the 10 original projects he's announced, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, you know, the way that Luca, I don't know.
Guadagnino.
Yeah. Who's doing Queer and with Daniel Craig and wants to do the Sergeant Rock, who we'll get into later with the Creature Commandos bit. Yeah, was a part of, you know, Easy Company with G.I. Robot, which you brought that to my attention, which was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I was like, when they mentioned Easy Company and Creature Commandos, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. I mean, it's still, you know, a good 20 to 30 years in the past. So, you know, like Sergeant Rock would have to be like much older by the point of like the Vietnam, because that's when he was like around, wasn't he? Wasn't it Vietnam?
Well, I mean, they're saying, I mean, in Creature Commandos, they showed him in World War II.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, logically, and I think it is a World War II.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is World War II. He's the guy that died last in World War II. Sorry. That was my bad. Okay. But I think it's so fascinating because like Clayface, first of all, like I think he's a really interesting character, and especially in the way that his character has evolved in the comics, especially after Rebirth.
Right. And since his original inception, you know. And
since his original inception. But like he in like post Rebirth has become more like work alongside Batman and the Bat family. Right. And I find that to be I don't know. I find it really interesting that we want to start with like to see him as like a tragic character, which he like inherently is, but then to instead of put him in that villain camp, which is very easy to do, we're gonna blend the lines or blur the lines or like have him be good, which just we'll see, but like I find it very fascinating, and
I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes somewhat of a theme in this universe, because like it's very much been a theme of like his you know, Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. Those were all, you know, basically space like pirates, and they all wound up becoming Guardians of the Galaxy. Same with the Suicide Squad. They ended up saving oh crap, I'm forgetting the name of the country they saved. But it's fine. You know what I'm talking about. And
Corto
Maltese. Yeah. And then, you know, with Creature Commandos, you know, we'll get to it, but like the last 2 episodes have very much humanized and shown a light on characters to make, you know, basically telling us they're not the villains we thought they were, or they might not even be villains at all.
Right.
And I think blurring the lines there is what James Gunn does so well. And I think that's the kind of stories he likes telling. Yeah. So I mean, Clayface just falls right in line with it.
Yeah. And if you can dive into I'm curious to know how they'll do the design. Like, are we going to go more the way that they did in the most recent Batman like Amazon series, where it's more subtle with the disfiguration and what they do, or are we going to go full on like blobby, which is, it sounds like with the Fly reference, we're going to go more blobby, like crazy
I think so.
creature monster thing, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, very exciting. Very exciting. And so that'll be the third movie now in this universe, after Superman and Supergirl. So that's it's an interesting order, but like, he said recently, like, when a script comes in and we're very happy with it, that's just going to be the next movie. Like we're not building a grand plan. We're building great stories in a shared universe that will sometimes connect,
Which I have no doubt that at some point they're going to be like, all right, we gotta get a Justice League together.
Yeah, I think we will eventually see it all come in together into Justice League for sure.
I think it's a genuine, even more so than the MCU, which as the MCU is amazing. There's nothing like it. It's incredible. At least the first 23 movies.
Yes.
There's nothing that's ever been done like it before. But I think that what they're trying to do and what is kind of setting them apart is we're just creating a world where all these different things can exist and you don't need to see the other things. Right. But when you do, and that's what was great about the MCU at first, when you do see them, you'll have bits where you're like, oh, I know about that. But it's not integral to the story to understand it.
Yeah.
And you can have lots of different styles of stories. I mean, I have no doubt that this as a horror tragedy will be like horror tragedy. Like, I don't think that it's gonna be like the way that Marvel described like Doctor Strange as being like a horror movie and being like, okay, I mean,
because like, yes, they have like MCU movies have their like individual identities, but not like they're still very much sharing a universe, and you can tell that like, it's stylistically similar to other movies, and it doesn't go all the way like it should sometimes. And I think to your point, like what's even more genuine about this is like the MCU. Yeah, it was great for those first three phases, but like even after Iron Man, the first one came out, they capitalized on it. Made these other three movies to build to an Avengers. Like they had this plan in place kind of very early.
I mean, I would say from the beginning. I mean,
right, and
the first
because we saw Nick Fury, right? I mean, that was giving us the tease of building everything, and so here we're having a genuine creation of a universe where we care about quality and nothing else. So that's so exciting to me, honestly.
Yeah, and I just cannot stress enough how much I love that Mike Flanagan wanted to do this, is a fan of like the Clayface DC animated stories. And Clayface is just an interesting character. I think there's so much that you can do with it. And I think to see it adapted into a live on-screen horror, especially with the way that horror has evolved over the years, to do something akin to to do something with body horror, if they choose, which I imagine they will a little bit.
Oh, sure.
But have like, I don't know, like to have the do I want to say pathos? I don't know. Just the like with Hereditary, with like the sadness, working through grief, working through like these bad things that happened. Just like I guess it's just gotten a little bit more like serious, but also like it's just the way that like people viewed like The Shining as a completely different horror movie to like other like more campy stuff. It's like it's doing like a human experience, but it's also like just a gripping, thrilling work of art that's that's visually stunning to look at. There's lots of layers to it, as opposed to like, oh no, the guy's gonna like murder me.
It's like a slasher, right?
And I think you can add the emotion and the complexity to something like this. We've seen it so many times over the years lately, and
because a great character study really works.
And to have it in a DC like comic book world just is really exciting. And I think it's one of the things that I've wanted Marvel to do more is like make this project, like make it its own thing, make a horror movie, make a thriller movie,
doesn't absolutely feel like the MCU anymore, you know?
Right. And like they had bits there, like when you look at Winter Soldier, you're like, you got the political thriller, like that.
Well, I'd also point to like Werewolf by Night. I think that was like their first like big, where it just felt so different from the MCU, you know? I can't necessarily point to many other movies recently that have felt very different, you know? For them, at least. And that wasn't even a movie. That was like a special presentation, which they haven't really done since.
I will say that they took a big swing with Eternals, and in my opinion, they did a great job where they made this like science fiction epic, but other people apparently disagree. I think that movie's going to age very well, and I think people are going to look back and they're going to be like, oh, you know what, we gave it too much shit, you know?
We'll see. Because I'm still against on the opposite side here.
I almost bought you for Christmas an Icarus Funko Pop that I saw.
Are you serious?
Just for like your gag gift, but
yeah, appreciate it. But yeah, I think that's Clayface and all that news, and
all that news,
in DC. But we still got Creature Commandos review now.
So Creature Commandos, are we going to do episodes 3 and 4?
I'd like to.
Okay.
We don't have to go into crazy detail, but I mean, like G.I. Robot's story. I mean, goddamn. Episode 3 was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
just broadly speaking, before getting into the specifics, these 2 episodes, 3 and 4, took the least human characters that are on this team and made them not the most human, but like humanize them, like to the point where I was like, I mean,
these guys aren't villains.
It's just sad that they're in this situation at all. Like they're not supposed. I'm not supposed to be here. You know, like
yeah. And I mean, so with G.I. Robot, I mean, we kind of touched on it in the previous topics, but like. You basically get a whole backstory episode with him in episode 3, where you see him saving Easy Company in World War II and mowing down like 100 or how many ever Nazis were there.
And how great was it when he just started extending for hundreds of feet in the air, or tens of feet in the air, like
I mean, and then at the end, you know, his improvements, that was great too, and how he had been like. Kind of affected by him traveling. I guess, that is the next part, is like throughout the decades after World War II, he was just like going from scientist to scientist or wherever he was going. And he had some improvements, but then like kind of remained dormant for a while. And he ended up going to some collector who was a Nazi and ended up wiping out his entire, what is it like?
Not
congregation.
Congregation.
He gets to this congregation and wipes out like the entire room, and that's his directive. He's a Nazi killer, and he gets arrested for that because Nazis technically aren't illegal in America, and they can live, and so. He gets sent to prison for what he was programmed to do, and he's been dying to kill Nazis ever since. And then by the end of that episode, Rick Flag confirms, he's like, yeah, man, all these guys, they're Nazis, and gets to wipe him out and have a grand old time doing it and just spinning and flying around, and then Cersei blows him up. And he's just done. Nina Mazursky holds his head up and like gives him a final goodbye, but like it seems like he's dead. And like that that character was so good, and to give us all that backstory just makes me so sad we don't have him anymore. But
yeah, I mean, he may truly be gone, and I mean that's from the interviews that I'd been listening to. James was definitely very, I guess, like excited to be able to tell a story where it's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes deaths are going to happen and they're not really going to have any meaning. And that's just like the reality of this world, or at least this story that I'm telling. And I think it's deeply affecting, especially in the next episode as well, like the stories that he's telling. And I also think that as much as like we go, oh my God, I love that character, I wish they would have kept going with it. And sometimes you need to do that. Like when people say like, hey, we want more of this, like you got to give them a bit. But sometimes it moves the story and gets you connected and it's just I don't know. I guess it's just a part of it's something that happens and it's affecting and it makes you feel more things for some of the other, like now you hate Cersei even more.
Sure. In a sense, but like, like episode 4 also kind of like proved that she was right and that maybe she's not a terrible person. But like, I do want G.I. Robot's death to like really have an impact. I think specifically on Nina Mazursky. Like I want her to kind of come into her own in the last half of the season and carry like, I don't know, their friendship with her or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he might get rebuilt, but I also...
It's fine if he doesn't.
He also might not. And it might just be like, that sucked. But he was a robot who only killed Nazis, and there's only so much you can do with his character.
Right. And hopefully that Sergeant Rock movie gets made and we get to see more of him in live action.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great character, but like, it was hard for me to see much more. Like he got to fulfill the thing he wanted.
No, yeah.
We got his a very emotional arc with him twirling in the airs. Like he finally went through all this stuff to, and was rotting and rusting in prison.
And it's not like he could ever be reunited with Easy Company because we're like 70 years in the future. Yeah. So yeah, it's a sad reality, man. That's that. Yeah. But his arc was done and I don't think he's coming back.
And then Weasel and Dr. Phosphorus just go crazy on Cersei. I mean, wild.
Insane.
Burn her face.
Yeah. I didn't realize Weasel was that guy, just like clawing the shit out of her. I was like, wow, okay. You're a little stronger than I thought you were.
I want to see it in live action soon.
Yeah. Well, we already saw Weasel in live action.
But not doing that.
Sure, you're right. Just drowning. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, episode 4 was great as well. We got, like I mentioned, we got the fact that they captured Cersei and she gave Waller this like vision of the future because she's clairvoyant and basically saw that the princess or what was her name and what country was she from? I don't know. The princess that they were protecting.
Don't ask me.
Yeah, Princess Rostovik or whatever.
Yeah.
She ends up like taking over the world, and you see visions of like Batman and Superman both dead on like crosses. Peacemaker's dead too, and I think Wonder Woman was maybe shown. I could be wrong, but Cersei at the end of episode 3 literally is like, what have you done? You've doomed the world. And they go back and
get my boy Economos in there.
Yeah, you're right. We did see Economos. That was cool to see.
Lion to the lawyer to Weasel.
Yeah. Yeah. The lawyer was a great addition too. I was like, wow, what an interesting person to like not be able to talk to your client, but to feel like in your heart that this person's innocent.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool character, and I kind of like that she calls him John. Like he's got a name in a sense because he's John Doe, right? Yeah, right. And and then we go into Weasel's backstory, and that's just as heartbreaking or even if not more than G.I. Robots.
It's more.
It's more, yeah,
in my opinion.
this like stupid old man. He just like couldn't mind his own business. And like he's the reason these kids die. He's genuinely the entire reason all those kids die.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but basically these kids find Weasel in, near their playground. They start playing with him. This old man comes by and is like, holy shit, what is that? And he goes and like calls the cops, gets his shotgun. How does it escalate after that?
Well, the kids were playing with matches, and so they lit some of the like homework, or maybe it wasn't the homework, but they lit some papers accidentally on fire.
Right.
The fire was like pretty manageable. It was fine. They weren't really worried too much about it. And then he shot at
Oh yeah,
Weasel.
the old man came in. Right.
Yeah, but he went down the steps, shot at Weasel. It broke the alcohol bottle that they found in the desk of their teacher, which then sprayed and ignited the whole room. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Weasel, basically can only save one of the kids. And basically the whole time he's getting found and shot at by cops who for some reason are just the worst cops ever and like don't care about this child he's dragging along.
I was like, are you gonna hit the girl?
I thought for sure the girl was gonna get hit.
Yeah. I thought for sure she was gonna get hit too.
But then what's even worse is that they like once they've neutralized Weasel, they just take him and don't care about the kid. I'm like, oh my God. Like these are awful people.
I mean the rubble just like crushed her. I mean,
yeah, but I'm saying there was a chance they could have saved her if they hadn't gone for Weasel.
Maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, it was dark. Weasel lost all of his friends and was wrongly convicted of killing 8 kids. So,
yeah. I mean, I also liked how that episode started. It felt very like with the title in particular, where it was like, I think it was called maybe it was like Dreaming of Squirrels. I think was like the title of the episode. And I love a good callback where like you're like Dreaming of Squirrels. Like sometimes I like thinking about the title before like when the episode's going, and I'm like, I wonder how that's going to factor in. And then you go through this whole emotional arc, and at the very end, he's like, Weasel's having that nightmare, and it's recalling the whole series of events that we just saw. Right. And Nina Mazursky's like, oh, I was probably just dreaming of squirrels, chasing squirrels. And I'm like,
yeah.
No, he's not.
Just the darkest thing you can imagine. Yeah, and so like it makes me even sad that like he did that to like he feels like he has to do that for like to Cersei in episode 3. Like I don't think that's who he is. He's not this monster. He's just this like kind, really ugly looking being.
Well, what had happened is that she had hurt his now friends. So I would imagine like he kind of did that as like, you hurt my friends. These are now the new people I care about or something.
Sure. That could be it. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's more defense now rather than being told.
But he's also just like, he's just so dumb. He's just dumb.
Well, he's a weasel. He's like a human-sized weasel. That's what he is. You can't get more intelligent than he is.
It's just so sad. It's just the noises that Sean Gunn made to like emote the like sadness and like panic and like how much he cared while all that horrible violent stuff was happening in the backstory was just like incredible to watch.
It was. He's had a great 2 episodes as G.I. Robot and Weasel.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we didn't even mention that Frankenstein's in this episode.
Oh my God, he almost stole the whole episode.
He was great, and that fight with Rick Flag was fun, and then their conversation was even more fun.
He crashed his own helicopter to kill 2 dudes because he assumed that he was being judged for not being able to grow facial hair like Rick Flag.
Yeah, he's 100% a psychopath. He's got no moral compass. All he cares about is what other people think and what the bride thinks. It's like he needs her love, and if he has that, then maybe he's fixed. But
yeah, he's an insecure, low self-esteem,
right,
crazy person
for sure. But they finally are able to talk, and Rick Flag is like, I'm not in love with this person. I'm kind of in love with the princess, and I don't want my friends to go kill her. And so, yeah, Rick Flag in that episode basically refuses to go back and help the Creature Commandos. And so now it's revealed the bride will be leading the team to go kill the princess, which I'm very curious to see if we're going to get a fight between Rick Flag and the Creature Commandos. I don't even know how he would stack up against them. But
I mean, we've gotten it almost. I mean, 2 episodes out of the 4 now.
Well, yeah, but like with individual members,
Yeah,
not against the whole team, but
right.
Yeah,
I mean, it seems like there's going to be conflict when he's teaming up with Frankenstein and then the bride sees him with him.
Yeah, I guess it would be Rick Flag and the Frankenstein against the Creature Commandos that are left, which is like four people now, right?
It's Nina, the bride, Weasel, and Phosphorus.
Yeah, just 4 of them against. So yeah, 4v2. I think they could handle it. I think Frankenstein, like Rick Flag, is the fact that he handled Dr. Phosphorus is pretty impressive. And then you got Frankenstein, who's a beast, right next to him. So
yeah, the one thing, and I heard Frank Grillo talk about how he felt like he was doing like a terrible job when he was like voice acting alongside David Harbour. Was wow. when they were having all their conversations at his house, I was like, I like Frank Grillo, but like I do get what he's talking about. Like David Harbour was just on another level.
Sure.
And Frank Grillo, like that voice,
he's doing a good job.
Like it's like it's good. It's good.
It's not incredible. Yeah.
It's not like what David Harbour brought like was incredible. Like I love his version of Frankenstein. I don't know how. It's just he's great. He isn't a well-known actor, but like at the heart of it, like he's a good character actor, and like he's truly like
for sure.
I
didn't expect this good of a voice.
I would see him as like a voice actor. Like he could just be a voice actor in general.
Yeah, because I would never have guessed that was David Harbour if I wasn't already aware. So,
but you don't really watch them. You haven't really seen a whole lot with him, right? Like you don't really watch Stranger Things.
I watched the first season of Stranger Things. So,
yeah.
I mean, I know him from that. I know him as Spread Guardian.
It's true.
But yeah, other than that, because I didn't see his Hellboy movie. I didn't see Violent Night.
Oh man, Violent Night. Can't wait to watch that again.
Yeah. I can't believe that's a staple for you. It's pretty wild.
Have you saw it?
No, I haven't seen Violent Night.
Well, that's why it's not a staple for you.
I have to see it, huh? Maybe. Well, I guess you're gonna be up to 26, so we can't really. I mean, I guess we could, but
why couldn't we watch it the 26th?
Because it's after Christmas.
I don't care.
Okay, sounds good. But no, he was great in this overall. I mean, and I think he'll continue to be great. And yeah,
you are like Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet in Titanic. Have you seen that movie? Yeah, not many people have.
That killed me. I was like, a lot of people have seen that one.
My love is more like When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, he's hilarious. His voice is great, and super excited to see the fight next episode. So yeah, we're halfway through now of Creature Commandos,
and I feel like because they brought that like a doctor in who I guess is a specialist in clairvoyancy and Themyscira.
Mm-hmm.
I file like it has to be true that the vision that she gave Amanda Waller is true.
Yeah, I think so.
But like, man, I need to know how on earth this princess could possibly do that.
Right. Like take on the entire world of superheroes. Like that's insane.
I also like
yeah.
it blows my mind that like these are such outlandish outcomes for like, and they're like world devastating events that James Gunn keeps putting on like these just minuscule small characters
Yes,
at the end of the day.
for sure.
And the stakes are like so incredibly high. You couldn't even possibly imagine.
Right. Yeah.
But it works. It's not tiresome to me. It's like,
No.
okay, here we go.
Because in a sense, it's like end of the world stakes, but it doesn't feel like incredibly outlandish for some reason. Like in a sense, like the original Suicide Squad, that feels very outlandish to me. But like, I don't know. There's something I can't even put my like finger on it. There's something different about it.
Maybe it's because it's not
it's just good
yet
storytelling.
Happening. I don't know. And good storytelling, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not yet happening for Creature Commandos at least, right? But yeah, I think that's it for this week's review on the episodes, and looking forward to episode 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But now we got some interesting developments on the James Bond, I guess, next iteration of James Bond. It's apparently stalled in development. These aren't the exact words, but apparently Amazon is wanting to create a lot of TV shows and movie spinoffs for James Bond. They're kind of referring to it as Marvel style ideas. And the Broccoli family. It's not the actual term. Yes, I agree.
Film put it as Marvel style ideas
to kind of give us the.
But it's not in the Wall Street Journal article.
Right. But yeah, the franchise's producer, Barbara Broccoli, called them apparently fucking idiots for wanting to go that direction. I would absolutely agree. James Bond has worked for so long because of what it does. It's an event movie every 3 years or so, and we look forward to the next one because it's not oversaturated. But now Amazon's getting greedy and they want shows and spinoffs and all the works.
I mean, so there's a couple things about this article that that they kind of go over, and basically both sides are at an impasse. Basically, the standoff from people on both sides of this divide basically comes down to a clash between like taking big swings and the 20th century idea of making movies, and then the new entertainment industry of, algorithms and streaming and being risk averse, and or at least like trying to weigh the risks more financially beneficial to the company. And when you buy, I guess for Amazon, like they acquired all of MGM, and that was a 6.5 billion purchase. And obviously not all of that has to do with James Bond, but like a large portion of it is going to be James Bond. And now
they want their money's worth, right?
Right, they want their money's worth. But from what I was reading in the article, like apparently when the word content got brought up in a meeting, Barbara Broccoli like noticeably was not very happy with that term. And to her and her family, who has inherited the Bond franchise, it's like an heirloom. She considers picking the next James Bond akin to like picking a spouse, which like,
right.
I understand that. Mm-hmm. And so like, I understand like, I think there's a lot of problems with like the new way that people decide to make TV shows and judge things based on algorithms and trends and stuff like that. And there was word of like wanting to make some spin-off stuff or like TV shows, and I think that definitely rubbed them the wrong way. And now you're at an impasse. But like, I don't know how the legality would necessarily pan out.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how? Like, does she have final say? I would assume Amazon has final say, right?
I mean, it has to be a movie. And I guess at this point, like that's a part of the contract that it has to be a movie and it has to be put into streaming.
So
not streaming. It has to be put in theaters.
Right. So she has the final say on whether like these spinoffs or like, I guess they could do movie spinoffs, but like she's not going to have she's going to have the final say on a TV show being announced or greenlit.
They have to come up with the story, I guess.
Like the Broccoli family or
the Broccoli family or Amazon, but like she's the one who has to approve it happening, I guess. And from what I understand,
good for her.
And at first it was like when they were like, we feel pretty positive about, our relationship going forward with the Broccolis when the deal first went down, but it seems like it's gotten pretty rough. I mean, and I can't
if
blame,
they just stick to their formula. I mean, like, but no one's gonna be pissed.
I guess. I think part of it does seem like Amazon's wanting to get more bang for their money or for like what they bought.
Right.
But I also like it's complicated because like some person who worked at Amazon was like in one of the meetings basically said like, I don't really feel like James Bond is a hero because he's like this not paid but like government killer, ladies man, misogynistic, and like all those things are true.
Sure,
but like she was like, the room apparently was like very silent afterwards, which like I imagine it would be. And it definitely seems like there's these clashing ideologies of how they view and she's not opposed to like a non-white
no, that's what I've heard.
Non-straight actor playing it, but it apparently has to be a guy. Yeah, and they have to be British.
I mean, those two things make sense. Like that would be my requirements for James Bond. He's got to be British and he's got to be a guy. Like yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely on her side of this whole thing. I mean, Amazon is absolutely a greedy company, and it seems like they're trying to get as much content as they can out of this acquisition. So yeah, maybe we don't see James Bond in theaters for like another 3 or 4 years because of all this crap. It's very possible.
It's possible. Before the purchase closed, Amazon executives brainstormed among themselves how Bond could be plugged into their machine. Would Amazon produce a James Bond TV show for its Prime Video service? What about a Moneypenny spinoff or a TV spinoff centered on a female 007? Broccoli's response to such enthusiasm, one friend said, is often the same. Did you read the contract?
Good for her, man. Props.
So yeah, I mean, it does seem like it's all on
her court.
And it does seem like they're not. But it seems like they're at a stalemate. Like some of the ideas, like it seems like the 1% have more power than ever. Maybe we have like a billionaire autocrat be the next James Bond villain. And she was like, we did that in 1997. Like, I'm trying to come up with some new, fresh ideas.
Right.
So it's difficult. I think like I want a James Bond movie, but like I also don't want like from what I understand, she seems like I waited 18 months to have No Time for Die come out during COVID because I wanted it to be in theaters.
Right.
We have money. We're like we can wait this out. I think Amazon's the ones who are like itching obviously to get this made, and but I think they're also coming at it with like that. Not that they made Fallout, they made The Boys, they made all these things that I love. I don't think that it's impossible, but it's a bummer because it's like I want new James Bond, but I also don't want these like kind of not great ideas that at least are being presented in this article, and like the stuff that we really don't like about some of our entertainment and media, where it's like spin-off.
Well, yeah, and they're already doing it with The Boys. I mean, there's 3 spin-offs, technically 4 spin-offs for The Boys now. I mean, that's insane. Like we should not be milking these products as much as we are, but once they find something that's successful, they can't let go.
Yeah. So yeah, I find it difficult to imagine that this conflict will be resolved soon.
No, but I think she will win out. Like the Barbary Broccoli family, estate will win out. Like it'll be a little while, I think, but like she has all the power. I don't see how she would budge on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's James Bond for you this week. But yeah, as we mentioned earlier, we also got the list of episode titles for What If Season 3 and their descriptions. So we're going to go through those real quick and give our opinions on certain episodes and their concepts.
Which, by the way, these descriptions are all going to be new to us. We're going to read them for the first time.
These are real-time descriptions. So first episode is What If the Hulk Fought the Mech Avengers? This is Captain America / Sam Wilson must suit up in a colossal mech suit to battle Bruce Banner after an attempt to cure himself of the Hulk goes horribly wrong. Bucky Barnes, Monica Rambeau, Moon Knight, and others must join Sam as his new team of Mech Avengers.
Mech Avengers?
Ugh. So
like
to basic
like Iron Man suits?
Basically, that's what I'm getting, is that to beat the Hulk, they all have to like become the Hulk in a mech suit, And that sounds bad.
Interesting that they want to put Moon Knight and Monica Rambeau in the bunch. Those are two interesting picks.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I feel like Monica Rambeau could like hold her own without a mech suit. And I mean, Moon Knight, I don't think could, but
maybe this cure that they're talking about what goes horribly wrong is like he gets mechanized. He's a mechanized Hulk or something.
Maybe.
He's probably a more powerful Hulk.
Here's what's interesting. So they didn't mention it, but in the cast list for this episode, they also have Sebastian Stan and David Harbour. Mm-hmm. So they're also likely going to be in the Mech Avengers.
Well, it says Bucky Barnes. It says Bucky Barnes, Monica Rambeau.
You're right. My bad. But David Harbour, Red Guardian is as well. Yeah, can't say I love that concept.
Yeah, I mean,
not my favorite.
It'll be fitting for when Brave New World comes out. I guess Sam fighting Hulk is a concept that they just can't get past. Like, we got to do it again.
They like it. They like it a lot.
They really like this idea.
Yeah. So episode 2 is What If Agatha Went to Hollywood? Howard Stark may have helped the Allies win World War II, but what he really wants to do is direct. Oh my God. On the set of Stark Pictures' first production, the Playboy auteur quickly finds himself enchanted by his bewitching lead actress, Agatha Harkness. Little does she know, there will be another superpower co-star on the call sheet, Kingo.
Okay. I kind of like this. I'm not going to lie.
I like the fact that they're bringing in Kingo.
Yeah.
That's nice. The rest, I think, is terrible. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be like a cute, fun episode. Maybe Kingo and Agatha will fight and they'll come to a head.
I don't know. They'll fight. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. It's just that's a bizarre one. It's not as bad as the Mech Avengers, but
it sounds weird. It sounds charming.
Yeah, it could be.
It sounds a little charming, but it's
because Kingo, I feel like, even though I'm not a huge fan of Eternals, he was really underused. I think I would have liked to see more of him, and we just really haven't since. Mm-hmm. So it's not bad.
This is the thing about the What If series, is like different than like DC Black Label or Elseworlds, where they have these more not intricate, well, sometimes intricate, but more layered ideas of like why they think that this is interesting to like do a new story this way or a new take on a character. This is just like, these things are like, hey, wouldn't it be fun if like Agatha was an actress? And like the what if stuff is like, sometimes it's just like
they could do so much more with it. It feels like
I just wish that it was a bit more layered into like what the reasonings. Like, one of the best episodes from the 2 best episodes from the first season were the Doctor Strange episode, and then when the Avengers Ant-Man episode, which like I was like, these are good. Let's do more of these.
Yes, because they're big changes to characters and really interesting like concepts that are, I don't know, they have like a cause and effect, and
Yeah.
this is just like,
this is the equivalent of like, hey, we're having a Godzilla versus the Avengers crossover, 4-part comic series coming out, and like,
right,
cool. So I guess
that's
if I
fine,
want to see the Avengers fight a kaiju, but it's cool.
that's fine.
I don't know.
I
It just
guess.
doesn't do it for me.
I agree.
I'm not 8 years old anymore.
No. Like, to me, like, what if should always be like, what if this happened like this way instead of the way we saw it?
Right.
Like, it shouldn't be like, oh, what if Agatha wanted to be an actress, and what if Howard Stark wanted to be a director? It's like, what? Huh?
I mean, and granted, maybe this will be like one of the best episodes of the season, and we just wrote it off.
Yeah, maybe.
But just on face level, I'm like, yeah, it just doesn't. It's not pulling me in.
Right. Right. So episode 3 is, what if the Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier?
Now this sounds cool.
This sounds cool so far. Description is, it is 1991, and the Red Guardian takes it upon himself to join a high-profile mission and prove himself to his Red Room superiors. When his antics interfere with the Winter Soldier's own mission to kill Howard Stark, the 2 Soviet super soldiers must form an alliance to escape the United States. That's very neat. That's a very like direct cause and effect into one of like the biggest events, maybe not one of the big, but a big event in the MCU I
would say it's one of the biggest events.
Okay. All right. So of
it literally
Bucky killing Howard Stark. Yeah, you're right. It does break up the Avengers. And I mean, and we're gonna see that dynamic in Thunderbolts of Red Guardian and Bucky, but we get to see it again in What If, and in a 30 years before What If they met. So that's not, it's not like a crazy concept, but I think it's very interesting, at least.
Yeah.
Episode 4, we're back to, I think, the first 2 kind of ideas. It says, what if Howard the Duck got hitched? Howard the Duck and Darcy Lewis find themselves on an intergalactic pleasure cruise.
Are you kidding me?
When dangerous factions from across the galaxy descend to threaten their trip, they must discover their own cosmic powers to withstand the onslaught.
All right, this
that's the worst one.
It might be, but it could. Honestly, I could see myself liking this if it's done in a really like cute.
If it's a joke, like the entire
funny
time,
way.
sure.
But I mean, so it's got Samuel L. Jackson, Seth Green, Tom Hiddleston, Michael Rooker. So maybe
so
Loki,
we'll see.
maybe
We'll see
Yondu.
Yeah, and Nick Fury. Yeah,
but
for
like
some reason,
Darcy wants to hook up with the Duck.
Yeah, that is a weird pair, man. Like, what is that? What are we doing?
I thought we moved past the 90s, like Howard.
I thought we moved past Darcy, to be honest.
What? No, I love Darcy.
I think she's had her time in the MCU. I'd be fine if we don't. She was. She was good one, and that was my favorite. I think I've ever seen her in the MCU. But
I want Darcy and Jimmy Woo to have like an X-Files like buddy TV series.
That'd be cool. I like that a lot, but not for her to be hitched to Howard the Duck.
That's so weird.
So, now this next one is probably my favorite title. I haven't read the description yet, but this one is, what if the Emergence destroyed the Earth? This is in a universe where the Eternals never stop the Emergence. The birth of an incubating celestial shatters the Earth. Civilization endures on the rocky remnants of our planet, where Quentin Beck leads an authoritarian regime until freedom fighters recruit Riri Williams on a deadly mission to take him down.
That's kind of cool. Kind of neat.
That's neat.
I wonder why Riri. I mean, obviously it's because they want to use her character to like get her more acquainted with Marvel audiences.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I wouldn't have picked Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, to be
why not?
Villain.
He's the master of illusions. He can spin his own narratives into whatever he wants. Like he could take complete control of like what people are.
Do you think he would have like? I don't think many normal people, and he's a normal person. Like, I'm saying, like, without his suit and his devices, he's a normal guy, right? I don't think many normal people are going to survive the Earth shattering. I I don't know. That's just what I'm feeling. But maybe he somehow miraculously survives, and he gets to trick a bunch of people into believing his reality or something. I don't know. It's not bad. It's just a little.
I mean, if he's still under the guise of like Mysterio and hadn't been found out, people are like, oh my God, Mysterio is like a great superhero. You know, like people loved him at the beginning of Far From Home.
No, he was a good character. I like Far From Home rather than most Spider-Man fans. So
I like Far From Home. I think the Mysterio stuff is incredible.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially that last fight scene. Okay, so episode 6 is What If 1872? In a universe where the heroes of the MCU live in the Old West, Shang-Chi and his pistol-packing partner Kate Bishop traverse the frontier, saving the innocent from the evils of the Hood.
Which is the Riri Williams Ironheart villain coming up in her show.
Wow, they're doing a lot of Ironheart promotion here.
Wyatt Russell's going to be in it.
Yes.
Walton Goggins is going to be. Oh, the Ghoul's going to be in it.
No, but Walton Goggins, I think, is like very perfect for a Western character. Sure, yeah. So that makes sense. Again, another weird pairing, but could work. I like both those characters. I don't know.
It just seems like the thing is like it's novel. The what if stuff is like that's novel. They're in the Old West.
Yeah, like that's the thing is like why, like logically in the MCU, why would Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop have like been born 150 years before or 125 years before they were actually born? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So,
but that's like the same logic, I guess I could say, like when you look at like Gotham by Gaslight, like why is Bruce Wayne? Why are we telling this story in the Victorian era? But like we're doing it, and like it was still like a pretty cool story. But like it's also like, oh, that was neat. But I don't really like those stories that much. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. But yeah, because season 3 is actually going to be the last season of What If, and that they're kind of wrapping it up. The last 2 don't really have a description. The last episode 7 is What If the Watcher Disappeared, and that is the Watcher must stand trial for his many interventions. And episode 8 is What If, and that says the end of the beginning. So, again, I don't think that has ever made sense to basically like tie all of these stories into one story. You know, like I think What If could have been like a never-ending series if it was successful, and we just kind of keep going to like, hey, that's a cool What If story. But now they feel like they have a 3-season arc they want to wrap up in the show. So,
and part of me feels like, you know, I know Storm gets introduced in this season.
Oh yeah, I wonder what episode she's in.
But like, is this gonna tie into the movies at some point? I don't know. I just saw that the guy who said that the podcast host that said Clayface is gonna be like the Fly. Apparently, he reported that Jeff the Land Shark is going to be a part of the MCU.
I did see that. Yeah.
Which,
Marvel Rivals is very popular right now. So,
but he's been a part of the MC of Marvel Comics before Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, I mean, I from what I've heard, it's not much. But yes, I know he's been in the comics.
Not much, but he has. I don't know if I buy that. It might just be kind of clickbaity stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think where I see him is like weirdly with Deadpool. You know, I think Deadpool would like, oh my God, like I don't know. I think he'd freak out over Jeff the Land Shark or something.
But I'm like,
yeah,
could that character show up in here? Could
it's possible?
Could it go into the greater MCU? I don't know.
Right? Who knows? But yeah, that's the titles for What If season 3. There's only 8 episodes instead of their usual 9 this season. When it's supposed to be 10 each at one point.
Make it shorter and less painful.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. But this comes out end of this month. So
all of them?
I don't
or
believe
just the first
so.
one?
Maybe just the first or first 2, maybe. I don't know. yeah, and now we are going to do our review of episode 4 of Skeleton Crew.
We could technically. Oh, we did 3. Yeah,
we did the
4.
first 3 in the first review. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I will say this one for me was a little rockier than the other 3. I think the concept of like the basically like them going to the world that's like very much similar in looks, but is like basically culturally the exact opposite of the world. I think it's neat, but I don't think it was like incredibly executed. Especially like I think there were good things about like the kid character they introduced, but like a lot of it felt really cheese to me. Like the biggest one is like her sliding across. Do you remember that moment where she like randomly slides for no reason? It's like, come with me. I can guide you to safety.
She did it like 2 or 3 times this episode. Like when we last saw her, she just does like one last parkour.
Oh yeah, the flip.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. No, it was very unnecessary. And like, I don't know. The whole world didn't like fully, I didn't buy it per se, like this war-torn world. It just didn't feel like that, like a lot of it for me.
Really? Because like it looked pretty war-torn.
I guess for me it was because of the actors and like the characters that were there. Like I didn't necessarily buy them like all the way.
Interesting.
Like yes, like the visuals, yeah, those were good. Like I'm not gonna crap on those, but yeah, but what I did like the most in this episode is Neil. I thought he was incredible, and like seeing him, like it weirdly, like she's a big part. Like the new character, I'm not a fan of. She's a big part of it, and I like how they grow close and how he changes her and how he kind of like reaffirms his beliefs and his kind of personality and how he lives his life. I think Neil's probably becoming my favorite of the 4 kids, and he had a really beautiful episode. This one
he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really enjoyed that they were sent to this planet that at some point was almost identical to Ad-Aden, which I wonder if that's the same story for all these other like jewel planets that they've.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And so some sort of work is being done. So for some reason, the like executive's office or whoever that they like eventually go up to find the map.
Mm-hmm.
All the maps are there. I wonder what work is trying to be done up there somehow.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that exists
planets are connected? But
on Ad-Aden as well?
Yeah, because that's this. They say that that's the same building as like our.
Oh, you're right.
Like whoever is in charge of the planet or whatever.
Yeah.
And but what I'm assuming is maybe people found out what happened, and that's why we're in this war-torn state. Maybe not, but something happened that caused this system to break down. But it definitely seems like it started off the way that their world currently is, and like maybe that Ad-Aden is like the last one to like keep up this facade of something that's going on.
Right.
But I don't know. At first I wasn't too crazy about the idea of these warring factions on this planet, like the Troiks and the Hattas, Hat or whatever.
Well, I was really worried that it was going to be like kid factions, and I thought that was going to be really cheesy.
Well, no, because then when they brought that up, like I was like, okay, well, that's not going to happen because they literally just said it out loud. But I was like, ooh, is this going to be like Lord of the Flies? Like this could be kind of cool.
Oh, interesting.
But it wasn't that. And at first I was like, do I like the French accent in my Star Wars? But then I was like, but everybody's like, everybody's kind of got like English, like, we got like British accents. We got normal, like kind of Americanized accents. We got like Andor being more like Spanish speaking kind of accent. So I was like,
No,
I guess
it works. It's fine.
And I kind of like the idea of like, yeah, they're having this revolution, this rebellion. Of course, like France is going to be a part of that, or like the little like what do we want to call it? A nod there,
right.
Acknowledgement. But I enjoyed them kind of meeting these people, and it was short, and they didn't go into a ton of detail, but like I completely believe that they were like in front of this line of like they were gonna start the battle. They were gonna like lead the charge, and I was fully prepared that's like Neo was gonna get shot and die. I was getting tense, and then when you find out that it's is it Jod?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And he's got like Smee with him, and
yeah,
I was like, oh, okay. And like the way that they worked that out, and he's like, well, I used the credits to save your life, save your life, though. But like he was great. Jude Law was great this episode.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of Jude Law in this episode.
But I like his interaction with the kids. Like,
agreed. I do too.
It's been getting even better.
I wouldn't have minded seeing more of like what his plan was there, because it's like it's a little vague, like just for him to like kind of suspect that the kids were in danger, and then he bought these things to like get them back. I don't know. It's a little bit of a stretch,
well, because they told him that that the kids were with the other party, that like the guys that showed up to the ship were all the other parties, like the other groups. People,
okay.
And they knew that the four children were with the other people, and so he's like, oh, they were gonna shoot us, but then I was like, I could buy those things off you. Here's all these credits.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. I like that better. Yeah. But yeah, and then you kind of mentioned it at the beginning, but like the ending, it's probably my favorite scene of the whole episode.
I mean, where SM-33 got terrified. I was legitly terrified. I was so
I mean,
scared.
it was great, and so yeah, but like
I was like, Jesus Christ,
yeah,
that thing's gonna rip you apart.
But they get up to this office area, and like there's all these maps, but you find out that someone has destroyed the map to Aten, the coordinates, and
also they all are like at Afrin, at
Atchin or whatever.
Atchin,
but then you also come to find out that SM-33 has had his mind tampered with, his memories, and so Fern overrides the memories and is like, you remember everything about Aten. And so yeah, I mean, I'm starting to get a little hazy on what happened since I watched it earlier this week.
Well, yeah, so like last captain was like was like the one who's like, no, like you can't remember anything from that end. And she's like, well, I'm your captain, so
right.
now you remember everything. Yeah. And then he's like, now I remember, I ripped it off. And my captain told me to kill everybody who went looking for Aten again, and to tear them limb from limb.
And then
Jesus Christ,
Jod knows where the off switch is. Thank God.
On his butt.
Yeah, on his butt, and
slap that ass.
So yeah, I guess we're not going to have SM-33 around anymore, which is a bummer. But
I don't think that's true. I think
they'll reset his head or something.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I like Nick Frost a lot in this role. I think he's done a great job. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. No, SM-33 has been a great droid. And I hope he gets back to his comedic relief self and his protecting self. I don't like him against the kids. But yeah, now we're just kind of left without a viable path forward, right? I mean, like, the map is gone, and SM-33 was going to kill him. And so what do you do now?
I think the Geordie LaForge girl, what's her name?
Fern?
No, not
KB.
Fern. KB. She's probably gonna rewire his brain.
Okay. To not be aggressive. Possibly. Hopefully. Yeah.
Because I can't imagine there's any other way to go about getting the information.
Yeah. Agree. Or unless they go to another one of the planets.
Or they go to another planet. Yeah. Right. Which very well might be the case.
Right. But yeah, that's episode 4. I don't think anything else significant happened. But to your point, I think you brought it up last week of like the mystery behind like his captain and the ship that was like buried. I think the captain is someone we've met already. Like I almost feel like
it probably has to be, because it won't be.
Yeah.
Well,
so my theory,
I would say it would be most effective if it was.
Right.
You want to say it's his dad?
I do want to say it's his dad. That is my theory right now. It's Wynn's. Is it Wynn? Wim. Yeah. It's his dad. That's what I'm going to predict right now. That he's not the stuck up dad that we always thought he was.
It would be very effective.
Yeah.
But I would say that if it was anybody, I feel like it would be Fern's mom, because she's a bit more like, you need to be, you get the better life here. You need to get the better job here. Why do you think I got you out of trouble? I'm like higher up in the know-how of everything.
That's fair. We saw a good bit of her. That's fair. I think maybe why I'm maybe leaning towards Wim's dad is that he had this like a different response to his kid being kidnapped rather than the other parents.
Yeah,
he had this like contemplating look.
Yeah, but he was like, they were on a spaceship. He was like very like,
maybe he's keeping up appearances.
I think he was a bit more like, I think he was genuinely like, oh my God, what are you doing on a spaceship?
Yeah.
And then when he had that reaction, it was more like, I thought he was more like a quiet reservation of like, I'm done with this society. Like this is like they're saying it could be I can't have my kid anymore. Like that's crazy.
It could easily be that. I don't think it's a bad theory that it's the mom, for sure. But it's one of those two, I think. Because there's not another significant adult character.
I know, but it could be a new, like completely new face. And it's like the mom had just been like working. I mean, yeah, it's definitely like, if we want to go the traditional route of like, like the same thing with like Transformers 1, it was like, it was him all along, kind of thing. Then like, yeah, it's got to be one of those. Absolutely.
For sure.
But I'm going to put more money on like, it's not the guy to, I don't know. It could be like he wanted to escape.
Yeah.
Like, and live like a good, chill life with his kid. But like, I feel like it happened so long ago. It has to be like somebody who's already maybe died. And like now he builds up this society potentially or whatever. And now they're all living in that world. Like because it seems kind of crazy that that was buried in the dirt. Like,
no, you're right. I mean, that feels like a long time ago. You're right.
I don't know, but I think it might be somebody who's already dead. But
I'm saying I think that could be the case. Like
could be his dad. It could be his grandpa. I don't know.
Could be. But I feel like it could have been only like 20 years since that. Like, since that ship crashed on At and been buried. And I think that's still enough time, or a little enough time in a sense, where like it could be Fern's mom or Wim's dad. I still think that's plausible. They would just had to have been young captains,
It could be.
Yeah. But we'll find out maybe in episode 5 next week. So
I don't think we'll find out till episode
I'm just kind of giving
7.
a little teaser. But this next episode comes out Christmas Eve. So hopefully it's a little Christmas holiday theme. That'll be nice.
No, it won't.
No, it won't be at all.
But
Christmas Eve episode? It's got to be a little, right? I mean,
it could be. Also, this episode directed by the Daniels.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So
yeah. That's a cool.
I liked it. I liked it.
It was a good episode. It's just probably, it might be my least favorite of the season, but it's a good episode. Yeah. So yeah, that's all the topics we had for today. And as always, we like to thank you for watching and listening to this podcast. If you want to listen in the future or watch in the future, we release weekly on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. And we release clips 3 times a week as well on YouTube. If you want to follow us on any of those, the descriptions are in the link below. And if you want to give us a like, a comment, a rating, a review, or subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it.
And everybody have a happy holiday, whatever it is that you celebrate.
Yes.
And we will see you next week with probably our best and worst, or it'll be the first of the new year. We'll have our best and worst of 2024.
But also look for our live stream, I think, which would happen before either of those.
Or look for that.
Yes.
But until that time, until next time.